Good morning to everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss about layered architecture of internet. Here, when you take the layered architecture, so why it was introduced into the market, why it was introduced into the networks. Let's see how it has started. Whenever the internet was introduced, a host wants to communicate with another host, and there are a lot of components that is involved with that. One of the important components is cable, connectors, and then your network interface card. So all these three components that are incorporated, that are used for connecting one system to another system, right? So this is basic communication takes place, right? But how in case of internet, right? Because the first network that was founded in 1979 is ARPA network, right? So in this network, they founded this network only with the same configuration systems, right? So whereas in case of situations like internet, right? So one end system and another end system, in between we have internet in between, right? So internet here. There are such cases. There are some cases that found in 1970s. So with Windows operating system at one end, and there is another operating system at another end. Because the internet was introduced, first network was introduced between the systems of same configuration and same operating system, right? But there is a need for communication between two different configuration systems, like one Windows system and one Mac OS or else Linux OS, anything it may be, right? So such type of things cannot be done with the current situation in 1979, right? That's why there is an introduction of OSI model, which is Open System Interconnection. The expansion of this is Open System Interconnection model, so which gives a clear idea about how a communication can take place, and even the operating system of two different end systems will be available at end users, right? So in this open system interconnection, they have a layered architecture, right? Open system architecture, open system interconnection was proposed by ISO, right, which is International Standard Organization, and they provided these guidelines for communicating to end devices over internet, which is of different configurations, right? So let's see how this happens. As you already said, to remember the layers, right? There are 7 different layers proposed by that is ISO for OSI model, which is if you take from to remember the phrase, right? To remember the order of the layers, please do not touch system private area, right? The first layer is called physical layer. The second one is data link layer. And the third one is network layer, and the fourth one is transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, application layer. So these are the 7 different layers of OSI model, right? So which is open system interconnection model. So in this case, so layers are nothing but it's a bundle of protocols, right? You can call each layer as bundle of protocols. Why? Because bundle of protocols. Why? Because as I already said in the previous video, protocols are nothing but it's a set of rules. How a communication takes place, how a process should be done. That should be a regular defined procedure, right? So that is what the protocol is. Here each layer is it is performing some function, and those functions are performed by those protocols, right? Each is a bundle of protocols. All the works, all the process that is done at each layer will be performed by the respective protocol that is used in that layer, right? So we'll see one by one. So it's a bundle of protocols. Please remember this term. It's a bundle of protocols, right? So let's start from the uppermost layer of OSI model. Right? Let's start from the uppermost layer, which is called application layer. Before that, we'll draw a simple diagram, right? So this is what the data is, and to make it more understand, so this data, this information will be useful for you. Okay, let's see one by one so that you can able to easily understand, right? First of all, application layer. Application layer are nothing but, as I already said in the previous video, So application layer consists of applications of two different categories. One is network apps, another one is non-networking apps, right? So based on whether the application is going to access internet or not. A good example for network apps is, so you can take Facebook, you can take Skype, and you can take any applications that demands network access called network applications, and then applications that doesn't need internet access are called non-network applications. A good example for non-networking application is Word, Excel, right? All those applications are non-network applications which does not need network access, right? And because these are the applications that is going to generate data and that is going to be transmitted over internet, right? Networking applications, why we are discussing this application terms are because these are all the applications that is going to generate data, right? And that is going to be communicated over internet, right? So now if you take the application layer, there are applications that generates data that is communicated over internet. Here, what are the things that we'll keep on doing is, we'll use to have a file transfer, and we'll use to have your web surfing. We'll use to have websites, we'll use to visit our websites through browsers, and we have email checking. And as I said, it's a bundle of protocols. Let's see one by one what are the protocols that are supported over application layer, and we'll have virtual tunnels. Here, there are plenty of protocols that is going to work in application layer. So let's say some of the applications are POP3, which is mainly used for fetching of your mails from mailbox, and SMTP, and the HTTP, and the FTP, and you can say plenty of protocols, right? And NNTP. All these protocols are majorly used for applications, right? Communicating your applications with other network layers, right? Other layers in the OSI model, right? So here this, if you take your file transfer, you have TFTP and FTP are the protocols that is going to perform all the process of file transfer from one host to another host within an organization, right? And if you take your web surfing, we have HTTP, and if you have HTTPS, right? When you make a browser to visit some website, so initially we'll have this http:// and www.google.com, right? Such a scenario you have already faced, right? When you surfed so far, you will be aware of this protocol called HTTP, which is Hypertext Transport Protocol, majorly used for visiting websites, right? The ultimate aim is of your HTTP is fetching your websites and loading into the browser, right? So that is what HTTP, and HTTP is secure protocol, right? And if you take email, you have POP3, and you have SMTP, and so on, right? A lot of protocols that are there in application layer for connecting your emails. And if you take virtual tunnels, there is a telnet protocol exists. So there are plenty of protocols, there are blend of protocols available in case of your application layer to generate data and to communicate, to perform the process of the individual one, right? So for file transfers, TSTP, TFTP, and FTP will be taking care of the communication, right? So such type of things that will be performed in application layer which generates data, right? Initially it generates data, right? So now data has been generated, right? So as I said, we need to draw the logical diagram so that you can able to easily understand. So this is application layer which has generated data, and the data has communicated to the network layer now, right? So this is application layer, data has been generated, sorry, not network layer, it's a presentation. I simply write, since because of lack of space, I'll write it as presentation layer, right? P layer. So here in case of presentation layer, as the name implies, right? As the name dictates, so this presents your data, right? Because data generated at application layer will be of different format, right? Format in the sense, one file may be of a file transfer FTP file, right? Another file it may be of a JPEG file, right? Another file will be of a video file, right? Another file may be of an any format. It will be of any format. There are plenty of formats available where the application generates data, right? And these data needs to be converted into a raw format, right? Raw format in the sense it's a machine understandable format, right? So we all know that there is a widely used machine understandable format called ASCII, right? And the data that is converted in separate format will be converted to a raw format called ASCII, and from there it is converted to universal format of EBCDIC, right? So which is extended binary coded decimal interchange code, right? Extended binary decimal. Here this is a 7 characters format, and this is of 8 characters format. So which is easy for the system to understand the information, right? So this is what the translation, the major responsibility of physical presentation layer is. It is going to translate the information from original format to raw data, which is of machine understandable format, right? So this is the major process done at presentation layer, which is presenting data. This is all done at source node, right? Source is nothing but the node wants to communicate, right? Please remember this point. We'll have a logical diagram at the end of this video. So this is the first and foremost responsibility of translation presentation layer. So it translates data from original format to machine understandable format, right? So this is ASCII format. From the ASCII format, it is converted to extended binary coded decimal interchange code, right? Which is of 8 characters format, whereas this ASCII is a 7 characters format. This 8 character format is easy for the system to understand the information, right? And the second responsibility performed by presentation layer is it performs compression. Compression of information is because, as you already said, the informations that are generated as a original size will be of original format, which is of higher size, right? And if you have, for example, if you are transmitting a video which is of high resolution video, which is practically very tough to transmit over the internet, right? So that's why this compression process has been done, right, at presentation layer. Compression is nothing but we are compressing the data from original size to some smaller size of size. Let's take some 10 MB of information, this is converted to 6 MB of information, right? So that it can be easily transmitted over internet. Anyway, it is a 4 MB, right? So it's a small example, right? So compression is performed. If you take your compression, we have 2 types of compression available: lossy compression, another one is lossless compression. Lossy compression, another one is lossless compression. So we'll discuss about these terms later. So of now, the responsibility you all get to aware of. So compression is done. Why? Because this majorly helps in video transmissions, right? Majorly helps in video transmission, because videos will be of huger size, and we need to compress that video so that it can be transmitted. You can take the example of your WhatsApp also. It is voice over IP protocol, and the video what you are transmitting from your mobiles, which is of high resolution video, whereas the receiver will receive lower quality of it, right? Because transmitted over Vivo IP will reduce the quality of your video, and it is getting transmitted to the receiver with lower quality, right? So that is what compression is. Compression done at presentation layer. And the third one is encryption and decryption. Encryption and decryption is performed. And after the compression process is done, the data are encrypted at source node, right? Data are encrypted. Here, the major responsibility here it is translation of data from original source to machine understandable code, and the compression is performed. Compression is the sense that we'll reduce the size of your original data to a lower size, right? Comparatively lower size, right? And the third process is encryption and decryption. Encryption is nothing but it encrypts the data. Encrypting is nothing but converting your original data into some other format, so that the intermediates, or else if any hacking performs, the data cannot be retrieved, right? Because that is encryption is nothing but hiding of information. Hiding is nothing but what to say. The sender only knows about the information, and intermediators, if they hack the data, they can't able to understand. right, will be of different format, right? That is what encryption. And decryption will be performed at the receiver side, right? So we are only discussing about source node, right? Source node here, application layer, and the presentation layer. As you already said, the source node has to perform all these, the data has to cross all these 7 layers to reach your physical layer, and it is transmitted over internet, and finally it reaches the physical layer of the destination, and it has to cross all the 7 layers to reach the application layer. So this is what communication takes place. As of now, we are discussing only with the source node, and source node we have reached the presentation layer, right? So the major responsibility of presentation layer is translation, compression, and encryption and decryption, right? So I'll write a summary here. First one, translation, compression, encryption plus decryption. Right? Fine. Okay, now data has been translated, compressed, and encrypted. Right? Decryption is performed at the receiver side, and data moves over the next layer called session layer. Session layer. So the purpose of session layer is, as the name implies, we manages sessions, right? So session layer, if you take session layer, it manages sessions, right? The major responsibility of session layer is session management, right? Session management, authentication, authorization. Okay, in case of your session layer, if you, for example, if your session layer performs session management, authentication, and authorization. So if you are trying to access a web server, right? So this is a server, right? And if you are trying to fetch a web page, right? Initially it performs this authentication process, whether you have authenticated information or not, whether you have authentication to access one particular website or not. Initially server performs this, right? So it will ask for the authentication. You need to send the username and password, right, as an authentication to access the server, right? And once the authentication is done, right, so you have valid credentials to access the web server, and once the authentication is performed, then it starts handling your sessions, it starts managing your session, right? So it has track of all the informations what you are going to perform, right? It majorly performs connection establishment, connection termination, right? So connection establishment and connection termination. So as I said, authentication is performed, and once authentication is performed, so it start managing your sessions, right? To whom you are communicating, what you are requesting, right? And it takes care of delivery of your data to the respective tab, because you have multiple number of tabs opened in your browser, and every tab is surfing for something, right? And a particular session needs to be maintained so that the information fetched from the browser needs to be delivered to the respective tab, right? So the session is managed per tab, right? So if you are performing two browsings, and the two browsings are requesting for some web pages, then a separate session will be managed for both the tabs, so that data fetched from the server will be delivered to the respective tabs in the browser, right? So session management takes care of connection establishment, it performs connection establishment, connection termination, it performs connection establishment, connection termination. All these responsibilities are managed by session, right? Session management process, right? And it, once the authentication is done, session management gets activated, and once session management activated, it takes care of all the delivery process, connection establishment, connection termination. And once authentication is activated, session has been activated, it checks for authorization. There is a huge difference between authorization and authentication, right? Authorization is to check for authorization of a person to access a file, whereas authentication is to connect to servers, right? You have user ID and password for connecting your service, whereas authorization is To access one particular file, we need to have the authorization, right? So whether you are authorized person or not, right? So all these are managed and taken care of by the session layer, and this session management is performed, right? So all these three major process, important process of session layer. Please make a note. So all these application layer, presentation layer, and session layer, all these will be performed by a browser, right? Still data has not left your computer, right? Please remember this. All these application layer, presentation layer, and session layer will be performed by your browser, right? So now only your data is leaving your computer, right? So please remember this, all these points: session management, authentication, and authorization. So let's write the responsibilities of session layer. First one, session management, authentication, authorization, right? Let's now only your data moves from leaves your system, right? Because we are in source node, it is communicating, it is trying to communicate to another device. Now its data is leaving your computer, right? So here it is nothing but the transport layer. So it is an important layer. If you want to be, if you want to get some profession, if you want to get into a networking profession, then you should be more aware of, you should be thorough in these three layers: transport layer, network layer, and data link layer, right? Because this is going to be the internet, this is what the internet is. So all these process, all the important things that is performed will be done by this transport layer, network layer, and data link layer, right? You should be well versed with these three layers. So if you take a transport layer, we can call transport layer process in work as process to process communication, right? Process to process communication, because it takes care of delivery of your data from the source process and to the destination process, right? It takes the information, because source process is generating data and it has to be taken and it will be delivered to the respective destination process, right? Please remember, every system has plenty of process running in your system, right? So plenty of process running in your system, and only one process of a networking application is generating data, and it needs to be communicated to the respective process of the destination system, right? So if this is the process that is generating data and it has to be communicated to this process, then it has to cross all the layers and finally it reaches the destination network. And let's take this is the destination network, and from network it has to reach the destination system, and from there it has to reach the destination process, right? So this transport layer takes care of process to process communication. This is the source process and this is the destination process. It takes care of source to destination, that is source process to destination process delivery, right? So that is why we call it as process to process communication, right? Process to process communication, right? And if you take the transport layer, if you take the responsibilities of transport layer, so the major responsibilities of transport layer is going to be segmentation, right, and flow control and error control, right? And the important thing I have left out, the important protocol that is used in session layer is secure socket protocol, secure socket layer protocol, which is SSL, right? Because I have left out the important protocol you want to specify is secure socket layer protocol, right? And in case of your secure socket layer protocol is fine. And if you take yes, that is more than enough. Right, we'll discuss the rest of the things in the upcoming classes. Right. Okay. This is the major responsibilities of transport layer. The first one is segmentation, flow control, and error control. Data's now leaving your browser, leaving your system. Right. So now the segmentation process is done. Segmentation as the name implies, so it is going to segment your data, right? Splitting of your data, because data that cannot be changed, data cannot be processed or else transmitted in the same format it was generated, right? So it has to be segmented into smaller parts, right? And here data will be treated as segments, right? So we are receiving data from application layer, and here data are treated as segments, right? So segments, here data are represented as segments, right? And here the data arrives from session layer. Now if you look at, we are going to append a header, right? We are going to append a header to the transport layer data, and now it becomes segment, right? So after appending your header, right? This is transport layer header, and this transport layer, after appending your transport layer header, the data that arrives from session layer along with the transport layer header is called segment, right? Segment, we call data as segments in case of transport layer, right? What we are going to append as a transport layer, what are the informations we are going to incorporate in that transport layer header is, and we are going to include during the segmentation process, we are going to include, and the segment consists of, the segment header consists of source port number, destination port number, and sequence number. All these informations are incorporated in transport layer header. Look at the port number is nothing but every individual process that is running in your system will have respective port numbers, right? So to identify the respective process in a system, we use port numbers for identifying the respective process in a system, right? So as I already said, it is taking care of process to process communication, and using this port number, it can easily identify, the system can be able to easily identify which process it has generated and which process it needs to deliver the data, right? Using this port number, because we are going to append this, right, as part of your transport layer header, we are incorporating source port number, destination port number, and the sequence number. The importance of sequence number is, as I already said, we are performing the segmentation, and data has to be, because there are possibilities, data are traveling over different routes, and there are cases where some of the packets may go out of order, right? And to deliver your data in original format, we need to order your data, right? So that is why sequence number is introduced. Sequence number is nothing but every packet will be ordered with some numbers, right? So, and based on the numbering, even though the packet until the entire packet comes, right, until the entire data comes at receiver side, it waits for it. After that, it reorders the packet in the same format it was generated, and only it will be delivered to the intended destination and process, right? That is why sequence number is introduced into the transport layer. Please remember the things what you are going to incorporate under transport layer header is source port number and destination port number to identify which process has generated data and which process we need to deliver the data, right? That is why these two informations are incorporated. And the second one is, third one is sequence number. Sequence number, for there are out of delivery possibilities are there. So to make your original data, we'll use sequence number for ordering your data, right? And the important protocols under this transport layer is UDP and TCP, right? So these are all very widely used protocols, right? Still it is under use. Internet is what this TCP and UDP is, and each provides different types of services, right? So TCP is a connection oriented service, and UDP is a connection-less service, right? So TCP is a connection oriented service, which means whatever the data I am going to transmit over internet, I will receive a acknowledgement for it. It's a reliable protocol, right? This is the two major protocols that is going to work in transport layer: TCP and UDP, transmission control protocol, user datagram protocol, right? Transmission control protocol, user datagram protocol. This TCP is a connection oriented service, whereas UDP is a connection less service, right? For a connection, as I already said, TCP offers a reliable communication, right? Reliable communication in the sense it sends acknowledgement for whatever the data you are sending, right? Whereas UDP does not. UDP is a user datagram protocol. It does not provide any sort of acknowledgement, right? Any sort of acknowledgement for the data sent over. So it is a simple protocol, right? So data transmitted over internet. So while mostly video transmissions and Unauthorized, so if you are transmitting some secured information, then we go for TCP. And if you are transmitting some that is unnecessary informations, we use UDP, right? For video transmissions, majorly UDP will be, and please make a note, UDP will offer more services, more higher data rate compared to TCP, because TCP is going to taking care of more number of things, right? Acknowledgement and all, sequence numbers, all these informations will be taken care by TCP because it is a reliable protocol. Whereas UDP, because this is all the types of informations will fall under these two categories based on the information what you are going to transmit. If it is of important information, then TCP will be used. If it is of unimportant information, where UDP will be used, right? So we'll get back to it later with more informations, right? So these are all the things you need to take care of. Transport layer, process to process communication, segmentation, flow control. Still flow control and error control is there. Next one is flow control in transport layer. Flow control, as the name implies, right? As the name implies, flow control is nothing but, for example, two end systems are there, right? Host A and host B. Host A is operating with 10 Mbps of second, 10 Mbps per second, whereas host B is operating with 5 Mbps per second, and link is capable of transmitting at 10 Mbps per second, right? So it is generating data at the rate of 10 Mbps per second, and it is receiving the data at the rate of 5 Mbps per second, and data is communicating from the host A to host B. So now what you want to note down is, now data generated rate is higher than the data reception rate, right? So what happens, because as I said, there will be routers and switches available in between these two hosts, right? And data transmitted over internet will be buffered for some point of time in routers to get processed, right? Once data is started arriving to the host, and there will be a buffer to store your data. At some point of time, it is a static buffer, the size is going to be static, and at some point of time the buffer will get filled up, right? And automatically what happens, the packet drop happens, right? So we don't want packet to get dropped, right? So that is why this flow control will be managed by the transport layer, right? Flow control is nothing but, so I am capable of receiving at the rate of 5 Mbps per second, and your generating rate is somewhat higher. So the host will request the source node to reduce the generation rate, right? So that is what flow control is, right? So it takes care of managing, synchronizing the speed of generation rate of source and the reception rate of receiver, right? So that is the work of transport layer, right? So it takes care of flow control, and it takes care of somewhat error control also. The error control will also be managed by data link layer, right? Majorly taken care by data link layer. This error control is there are possibilities for errors to occur during transmission, right? And it takes care of this error control, somewhat error control, and data link layer will majorly takes care of error control process. And how it takes care is, for example, we'll append some information along with your original data, and it is encrypted, and once data is received at the receiver side, we'll redo the same process again, right? We'll get back to it later as per the techniques. So here, let's say checksum. There are plenty of mechanisms available, right? Checksum, and you have Hamming code distance. There are things available, right? We'll get back to it later. So this is original data, and I am doing some process, right? I am doing some process, and it is getting encrypted, right? And the data is transmitted, and at the receiver side, at the same layer, and it is redoing the process, right? In the reverse, if you get the original result, then there is no error during transmission. If it gets some other information, then there is an error during transmission. So this is what the process done at error control, right? So during transmissions, there are possibility for errors, and during intermediate or hackers also there are possibilities. So always it takes care of error control, whether the data has changed, and we need to ensure that the data is right to that needs to be delivered to the destination. So error control needs to be taken care of, right? So here header is added, segmentation, flow control, error control. So these are the responsibilities of transport layer and network layer. Very important layer. So network layer majorly takes care of, we can call this network layer as source to destination delivery. The previous layer we'll call it as process to process communication, right? Whereas this layer takes care of taking your data from source host to destination host, right? So until it reaches the destination host, this network layer will take care of, and the delivering of your data to the respective process will be taken care by the upper layer called at the destination by the upper layer called transport layer, right? Please remember, source to destination delivery, right? So here the data will transmit, this network layer will take care of finding the best path, right? If you take the major responsibilities of network layer, one is routing and path determination, path identification. One is routing, path determination, and then logical addressing. These are the major responsibilities of network layer. One is routing. Routing, as I already said, it takes care of routing of your packets from source node to destination node until it reaches the destination node, right? So this network layer will take care of it. Here, as I said, this information will come down to the, still we are in source node, and the data has reached the network layer, right? So it has left your system and it reaches the network layer. Here this is the information what we receive from this, is the segment will be transmitted to the network layer, and here a network header will be added. Here also we are going to append some information, and to identify the process in the system we are going to incorporate source port number and destination port number and sequence number as part of your transport layer header. Whereas in this case we are going to incorporate two informations. One is source IP and destination IP, because the IP address is the unique address, and that needs to be that is used for identifying the host in the entire network, right? And once data has reached the destination network, then it needs to identify which destination I need to reach. For that, destination IP address is needed, right? So in this network layer header, it is going to incorporate the source IP and destination IP, right? Source IP and destination IP. So this is, we call it as logical addressing, right? So it is going to perform logical addressing, right? So this routing process will take care of delivery of your data from source node to destination node. And the one more major responsibility of network layer is path determination. It identifies the best path in the internet. There are protocols like OSPF, which is Open System Open Shortest Path Formation, right? Open Shortest Path Formation, and there are BGP, right? Border Gateway Protocol. All these protocols, there are plenty of protocols available for identifying the best path internet, right? Best path in the internet, right? So it performs routing, it performs path determination, identifying the best path in the internet between the source and the destination, right? And it performs logical addressing also, right? So it is going to incorporate source IP and destination IP in the network layer header, and all these incorporated information along with the segment received from transport layer, together we call it as packets. We'll treat data as packets in network layer, right? Please remember this terminology. In transport layer we'll call it as segment. In network layer, after appending the network layer header, we'll call it as a packet, right? So the major responsibilities are routing, path determination, and logical addressing. Logical addressing is, we are identifying the source IP and we are identifying the destination IP, and both are incorporated as part of your network layer header, right? So these are the major responsibilities of network layer. Okay, I'll write the responsibilities of network layer. One is routing. Next one is path. Third one is logical addressing. Right? So here this packet will come to the next layer. Still we are in source, and this we call here also some header will be added, which is called data link layer header, and together it is called frames. Right? So data treated as frames. Here in case of network layer, the network layer, the major protocol that is going to be used here is Internet Protocol, right? So we'll get back to it later because it is a widely used protocol which has more information to be discussed. The important protocol is here it is IP, whereas in case of transport layer we have TCP and UDP, right? So here the data, the segment will receive from transport layer to network layer, and you are incorporating some header information, and in that what we are going to add is here the information, the major responsibilities what we are going to do in I think this is next layer. We have to write data link layer. Right? So we'll receive segment from network layer to data link layer. Here we are going to incorporate some information, and together we'll call it as frames. Right? So network layer packet along with the data link layer header, we'll call it as frames. Right? What we are going to incorporate in your header is here physical addressing is done. Physical addressing is done, and as I already said, error control will be majorly taken care by data link layer. Physical addressing is done, error control, and one more responsibility is medium access control. Right, all these are major responsibilities of data link layer. As I said, physical addressing. Right, what is called physical addressing? That is a logical addressing. So we have discussed about this point in the previous video itself. So logical addressing is an IP address related concept, whereas physical addressing is a MAC address related concept. Physical addressing is, it cannot be changed, right? So with the help of your logical address, we cannot able to identify, we cannot able to communicate information, right? So we need the MAC address for communicating, to identifying the source, right? We are identifying the host where it is, right? Because logical address are subject to change, right? Once you are disconnecting from internet and you are reconnecting, there are possibilities for you to allot it with different IP addresses, right? So we don't want, we cannot able to assure that this is going to be the host and that has generated data, right? That has requested data. So we need to identify the proper MAC address so that we can able to locate one particular system in the internet, right? So that is why physical addressing has been done. So as I said, here physical addressing done, then what are the information you are going to incorporate in header? Yes, it is nothing but the source MAC and destination MAC, right? Source MAC address and destination MAC address. As I said, IP address is of 32 bits of information, whereas MAC address will be of 48 bits of information. It is an hexadecimal format, right? We are going to incorporate as part of your data link layer header, we are going to incorporate source MAC address and destination MAC address in the data link layer header, right? And the data link layer header along with the information what we have received from network layer will together call it as frames, right? We'll together call it as frames. So physical addressing we are going to perform, we are going to identify the major protocol that is used here is ARP and ICMP is used, right? Internet Control Message Protocol, and ARP is nothing but Address Resolution Protocol, right? As I already said in the previous video. So I think we'll discuss more about ARP in later. So the important work of ARP is it converts, it takes the IP address and it identifies the respective MAC address, right? It fetch back the respective MAC address. After this is performed before adding your header, because we doesn't know the MAC address of the destination system, or else this data link layer takes care of hop to hop delivery. Because as I said in the network layer, it takes care of identifying the best path in the internet, right? Let's take these are all the two different hosts that is going to establish communication. And network layer, the route is finalized, right? Route has been finalized. Let's take this is one path. Yes, this is the path. These are all the intermediate nodes I need to cross, right? Data needs to cross. So now path has been identified. Now this data link layer takes care of hop to hop delivery, right? Hop to hop delivery is, this is one hop, right? Hop is nothing but one link, right? Connecting your device from, because this is one hop, this is another hop, this is another hop, this is another hop, this is another hop, and this is another hop, this is another hop. So to reach your destination, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hops it needs to cross, right? The data needs to cross. This data link layer ensures the delivery of the next intermediate system. That is what the because the scope of data link layer is very limited, right? Scope of data link layer is very limited. So each time data link layer MAC address will keep on changing, right? For example, route is defined, right? Route has been defined in the network layer itself. So now the scope of your data link layer is, it needs to deliver your data to the next immediate node called the intermediate node, first intermediate node. Let's say name this node 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are all the intermediate nodes I need to cross. Now this is going to be the source MAC address, and the destination MAC address is going to be this node number 1. Right? Once this has been done, it opens the data link layer header and it changes the information. Now this becomes the source MAC address, and this becomes the destination MAC address. That is why it is hop to hop delivery, right? So now once the data reaches here, this becomes source MAC and this becomes destination MAC, and this becomes source MAC and this becomes destination MAC. This becomes source MAC and this becomes destination MAC. So as I said, it's the scope of your data link layer is very limited, right? So it always ensures that data has reached the next intermediate device, right? So because delivering of your data to the next hop, right? So once the data reaches here, so this will reach the end system, right? So this is what the hop to hop delivery is, right? It ensures that data has reached the next intermediate device. Each time data link layer header opened, and the source MAC and destination MAC will keep on changing, right, until it reaches the destination system, right? Route is already defined in the network layer itself, so it takes care of hop to hop delivery, right? So as I said, majorly takes care of error control. The mechanisms used here is checksum. We'll get about this later, right? Checksum, Hamming distance. There are plenty of CRC. A lot of mechanisms exist for identifying errors. There are possibilities of errors to occur. So transmission from one layer, one location to another location, to identify, to ensure your data is not changed, we are going to use error control mechanisms. So checksum, CRC, Hamming distance are good examples for error control mechanisms. And medium access control, which is very important topic. Medium access control is, as I said, one system, for example, there are mediums that are going to be used. One medium that is going to be used, if you are going to use a LAN connection, a single medium is used for communicating to multiple devices, where possibility of collision to occur, right? Two nodes may be possible to initiate transmissions at same time, right? And this causes collision to occur, right? This data link layer takes care of medium access control. So medium is going to be what is going to be used as a communicating medium. Either it is a coaxial cable, or else fiber optics, or else twisted pair, anything it may be. So we are going to control the medium. Who is going to access the medium? So there are plenty of mechanisms exist. CSMA, carrier sense multiple access, CSMA CD, and CSMA CA. There are plenty of mechanisms. So important role is control the medium. Who is going to access the medium? It offers access to one particular system, and rest of the systems will receive data, and once completed it will go on to the next host who has requested to access the medium, right? So that is what medium access control is, right? These are all the major responsibilities of data link layer. Important protocol that is majorly used here is ARP and ICMP, which is Internet Control Message Protocol, right? And the last layer is physical layer. I think there is no space. First one of important responsibility of data link layer is, here it is treated as frames. First one, that is what is that? Physical addressing. error control, MAC. Yeah, this medium access control, right? And the last one is physical layer. In case of your physical layer, knowledge that there is no protocols exist, right? So here physical layer takes care of converting your data into, right? Data has reached the data link layer. Since so far we are in source node, converting of your data what we have received from data link layer into signals, electrical signals or optical signals. Electrical signals in case of communication over coaxial cable or else twisted pair cable, or else it is of optical signal if the medium that you are going to use is a fiber optics, or else there are the one more case called it will be converted to radio waves if you are going to use a wireless medium, right? So there are three possibility of conversions available. One is converting your data into electrical signals, right? Because data are generated and anyway it is going to be transmitted over electrical signals, ups and downs, right? So we are giving one for every data is converted into ones and zeros, bits of information, ones and zeros, and we are giving higher voltage for one and we are giving lower voltage for zero, right? This is how data are communicated to the end devices, right? And based on we'll have a transformer and we'll keep on accessing your data, and there are line coding mechanisms that exist. Line coding mechanisms, we'll get back to it later. That is a very important topic to be known, right? Line coding mechanisms that exist for converting your data into electrical signals, right? We'll discuss about it later. There are plenty of mechanisms available: bipolar, polar, and unipolar, Manchester, differential Manchester. There are different mechanisms exist for line coding mechanisms. It converts your data into three possible cases. One is electrical signal for if the medium what you are going to further use is a coaxial medium, coaxial cable or else twisted pair cable, and it will be converted to optical signal if the data is going to traveling fiber optics, and it is going to be converted into a radio wave if the medium is going to be wireless medium, right? There is no wire and we are going to travel over, data is going to travel over wireless medium. So this is going to be the possible type of conversions in physical layer, right? Data is converted to these three possibilities, right? So as of now, the data now reach the physical layer, right? Data now reach the physical layer. As I said, let's take this is source and this is destination. Here also application layer exists, presentation layer exists, session layer exists, transport layer exists, network layer exists, data link layer exists, and physical layer exists. So data generated at application layer transmitted over all these layers, and finally it reaches the physical layer. Here this is the physical layer, and it is converted into ones and zeros and transmitted over internet, right? It has to cross multiple number of internet devices, right? Multiple number of intermediate devices, routers, switches, right? Finally it reaches the destination system, right? So using this IP, you can able to identify, as I said, every IP has network ID and host ID, right? This network ID used for identifying which network has we are going to reach, and using host ID you can able to easily identify which host I need to reach. This is IP address and it consists of two information: network ID and host ID, right? So data finally reaches the destination system. This is destination and this is source, right? And once it has reached, so using the port number I can able to reach, as of now it has reached the destination system. So physical layer, it has to again cross all these 7 layers to reach the intended application. So physical layer it has reached, data link layer and transport layer, and finally it reaches the network layer and session layer and your presentation layer. And here in presentation layer, it converts your raw data into the respective application format, right? Image, video, anything it may be, right? Lossy compression, it performs decryption, everything will be performed at destination system, right? And all these headers are removed in each layer, right? Under your data link layer, the header will be removed. Under network layer, the header will be removed. Under transport layer, the header will be removed. Right, data will be the reverse process of all these are done at destination system, right? And finally the data will reach the application and using the port numbers, right? You can able to easily identify, because up to this it will be taken care of the browser, right? Using the port number available in the transport layer, so we can easily identify which process I need to deliver, right? So all those in using the port number, it will be easily delivered to the internet process, and finally it reaches the destination system, right? So this is how communication that is taken place using open system interconnection model, right? So we'll get back to the next video with different concept. Thank you.